Good morning, Year 6. Welcome back to school, and this is the answer video for today's arithmetic. I really hope that you watched the short one that I prepared earlier and asked you to watch before you tackled these questions, because there will have been a couple of things that would either have reminded you of something we've done but also taught you something that maybe you haven't come across before. So if you haven't done that, please go back and watch that video, and then you might want to change some of your answers or have a go at a question that you missed out. Okay, so these are the questions for today, so let's get going. So 47.32 add something equals 50. Now these two numbers are quite close together, which means we should be able to calculate quite easily, but let's have a look at it. Now I've used a bar model again to show you and to represent this question. So we've got 47.32 added something else. Okay, if we add these two parts together, so we've got, this is a known part of the question, this is what we're trying to find out, and together they add together to make 50. So what we've got to do is to count up. I think this is the most efficient way. Count up from 47.32 to get to 50, and then that'll tell you what we have to add to it to make 50. You can alternatively do 50 subtract 47.32, but then you'd have to add a 0.00 onto the end, and then you'd be exchanging sort of for quite a long time, which would take you a bit longer. You can do that, but there's more chances of making mistakes. So what I'm going to do is think about this number here, 47.32. I'm going to try and get up to 48 to start with, and I know I've got 32 hundredths, and if you remember, we need 100 hundredths to give us our 1. Okay, so which should take us up to 48. We've got part of it already, so we've got 32. So I've got to think 32 up to 100. Now I've got 2. If I add 8 to 2, that will take me to 40. Okay, so the number I'm going to have there is going to be an 8. So I've got 40 hundredths now, because I've got 32 and 8. So I've got 40 hundredths. I've got to think, what do I add to 40 to make 100? And the answer is 60. Okay, so I know that my answer is going to end in 0.68. So if I add that and that together, I've got 48. So then I've got to just think, what do I add to 48 to make 50? And the answer is 2. So there I'm using my understanding of place value rather than doing a sum where I might make a mistake because the exchange is difficult because there's so many zeros in the number. Okay, so the answer we're looking for is 2.68. Hopefully you can see I did it step by step there. I could have done it in my head very quickly and got it right. However, I'm trying to explain it to you how you can do it step by step. Okay, so then we've got 4,033 subtract 2,894. Now you might be able to do this in your head and add 6 to this number to make it 2,900, then another 100 and so on. But I would hope that you'd be writing some things down, and I would advise you to still do a sum just to make sure that you're right. Okay, so we're going to do column subtraction here. It's really good to keep practicing exchanging. So 3 subtract 4, you can't do. Okay, so make sure that you don't just swap them over and do 4 subtract 3, you can't do that. So I'm going to now exchange from the tens column and borrow one lot of 10, okay, and then add it to the units or the ones to make it 13. Okay, 4 add 6 takes me to 10, so I've got to add 6 to make that 10, and then another 3, so it's 9. Okay, if you wanted to, you could have taken 3 away from 13 to take you back to 10. You'd need to take another one away to take back to 9. Right, I've got 2 subtract 9. I can't do that. I can't exchange from the next column. Now remember, when you're exchanging, you can only exchange between columns that are next to each other. So I'm going to have to exchange 1,000 here, but I can only move it to the hundreds. There was nothing in the hundreds column. Now there's 10 lots of 100. There's 10 lots of 100 there, which we're going to then exchange from there, okay, and make that 9 lots of 100, and then we're going to exchange to the tens column. So now it's 12 subtract 9. So I would just count up to go 9, 10, 11, 12. It's a difference of 3. Okay, and then 9 subtract 8 is 1, 3 subtract 2 is 1. So your answer is 1,139. Okay, hopefully you got that one right. Right, this was the first part of my video this morning. Now this is building on some work that you were doing last week where you were multiplying a 3-digit number by a 2-digit number. So I went through in my video this morning about how you would do this, because I know some people are still unsure. So what we're going to do in the first part is forget about this 20 here, okay? We're just going to ignore it for a minute, and I'm going to think about what is 5 multiplied by 132. You can all do that. Okay, so if this is as far as you got, then that's okay. So 5 multiplied by 2 is 10. So I'm going to put my 0 there and then carry over my 1. Okay, remember it's got to read as 10, not as 0, 1. 5 subtract 3, so I've done this. Now I'm going to do this. 5 multiplied by 3, get ready, Mrs. PA. 5 multiplied by 3 is 15. Okay, add the 1 is 16. And then 5 multiplied by 1 is 5. Add that 1 that I've carried there. So the answer to 132 multiplied by 5 is 660. Now what we've got to think about, and we need to get rid of where I've crossed this out now, we want to do 20 multiplied by 132. So if we're looking here, that was the answer to that one. On this row, we're going to do 132 multiplied by 20, or 20 multiplied by 132. Now, we want to think about this as 2 times 2, and 2 times 3, and 2 times 1. Okay, so what we've got to think about is that when we're multiplying by 20, our numbers are all going to move up one column because 20 is 10 times bigger. So before we start multiplying by the tens column, we're going to put that 0 in. So that allows us to think about this as 2. Okay, so when you're multiplying by 10, okay, or the tens column, you put a 0 in straight away to show that you know your answer would move up one column, okay, and your gap would be filled in with a 0, a placeholder, okay. Now, instead of thinking about this as 20, we can think about it as 2. So we can do it really easy by saying 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, 2 times 3 is 6. Now all the time I'm lining up my numbers as carefully as I can, and the numbers that I'm carrying I'm crossing out so I don't count them in a minute. I've done 2 times 2, 2 times 3, and then 2 times 1 is 2. Okay, so that is the answer for 132 multiplied by 20. Now if I didn't put that 0 in, I would have just done 132 multiplied by 2. But so remember, when you multiply by the tens, you put that 0 in first. Now all I've got to do is add those two together, and it will give me 132 multiplied by 25. 6 add 4 is 10. Double 6 is 12. Add that 1 is 13. And then 2 add 1 is 3. So that is your answer there, 3,300. Now, the video I showed you this morning was a similar question. So hopefully you've had two instructions how to do this. So tomorrow, if you haven't had a go at this one, you should feel more confident. The key part is to remember, if that 2 wasn't there, you would all be able to do that. So you can do the first part. The second part is to remember this 0, because we want to think about it as 2 times 2 and 2 times 3. So what we're going to do is put the 0 in, because we know that the answer, okay, would mean that we'd have to move everything up one column, and then we'd have a gap there which we'd have to fill with a 0. Okay, so hopefully tomorrow you can have another go at this. Okay, 2/5 of 45. We're going to move on with fractions on Wednesday, I think. So this is just recapping something that we did last week. So before you find 2/5, you've got to find a fifth. To find a fifth of a number is the same as dividing it by 5. Now 45 is definitely in the 5 times table, and 1/5 is 9. 45 divided by 5 is 9. So if 1/5 is 9, then 2/5 would just be double that. So it'd be 9 add 9, which is 18. So 18 is the answer you are looking for up there. Okay, 2/5 of 45 is 18. Right, okay, moving over to the other side of the board. We know that our denominator is going to stay as 15. Both of these fractions need 15 equal parts to make a whole. Okay, so if you wanted to draw it out, then you would draw 15 parts with 8 coloured in, and then another 15 parts with 4 coloured in. Now all we need to do is to add the 8 and the 4 together, which gives us 12. So the answer is 12 over 15. Okay, now we're looking at this. 10 subtract 0.99. So again, this is going back to that understanding of you need 100 hundredths, okay, to give you a whole number. If this was 10 take away 1, the answer would be 9. Now we're taking away less than 1, so our answer is going to be 9 point something, because we're taking away less than 1, and if it was 10 take away 1, it would be 9, okay? So we're thinking we're taking away 99 hundredths. If we've got 100 hundredths, we're taking away 99 of them, we are left with 1 hundredth, okay? So you've got to think about, this column here is your tenths, this column here is your hundredths, so we've got 1 hundredth. Now if we put 9.1 as our answer, that would be 9 and 1/10, so we've got to remember to put that 0 in there. That is 9 and 1 hundredths. 9.01 is your answer. Okay, 90 times 20. So let's use something that we know, and let's do 9 times 2. Okay, because there's a clear connection between that. So you all know your 2 times table, so you can do 2 times 9, which is 18. So now I can use that and think, okay, so 90 times 2, okay, would give me an answer that is 10 times bigger, because my 9 has now been times by 10 is 10 times bigger, so my answer will be 10 times bigger. So 180, okay, is 10 times bigger than 18. So now I can use that because my 90 stays as it is. Now I need to multiply my answer again by 10, because instead of timesing it by 2, I'm timesing it by 20. So my answer will be 1,800. Okay, I'm doing this step by step to make sure I don't make any mistakes, but I'm always going back to something that I really know and understand clearly, and then changing one thing at a time. Okay, right. UDC. So let's be clear. I'm baking cupcakes for a cake sale. None of that is really important. It's just giving you an idea of what's going on. The recipe explains that, okay, 100 grams of sugar, I need to know this is sugar, will make 8 cupcakes, okay? So I've got 8 cupcakes, it'll give me 100, I need 100 grams of sugar. I want to make 24 cupcakes. How much sugar do I need? Okay, so I've got to think about, there must be a relationship between 8 and 24. So I'm going to think about the fact that if I want 8 cupcakes, I need 100 grams of sugar. So I'm now going to double that and think, okay, what's double 8? Okay, it's 16. That will be 200 grams of sugar. So now I'm thinking, right, I need to make 24. So what's another 8 onto 16? Now, not many of you will know your 8 times table. However, this is only just into the 8 times table. It's going up to 3 times 8. So 16 add 4 is 20. And if I'm trying to add 8, I need to add another 4, so it's 24. Okay, so the answer is, if I'm going to make 24 cupcakes, I need 300 grams of sugar. So that's the answer that you're looking for now, okay? Today's code word is cupcake. Right, so now I need to go to the challenge. If I wanted to make 20 cupcakes, how much sugar would I need? Now, 16 is too little, 24 is too much, but I am going to think, okay, 16 cupcakes, hang on if I go back, 16 cupcakes was 200 grams. I only need another 4 cupcakes. If I go back to this one, hang on a minute, there is a relationship between 8 and 4. If I half 8, I get 4. Oh, what am I doing over here? I don't want that one here. Okay, so if I want to just make another 4 cupcakes, because 16 add 4 will give me my 20, I only want half the amount of cupcakes, so I only need half of the amount of sugar. So that is how much sugar I need altogether. So the answer we're looking for is 250 grams of sugar, because 200 add 50 is 250 grams of sugar. That is the answer for the challenge. Okay? So again, it's looking at those relationships between numbers. It's not by accident that I chose 8 and 24 and 20. There is a relationship between them. So try and look at them and think, hang on, if I double this number, what do I get to? I'm going to add another 8 to it. Okay, and then it gets me to my 24. Right, let me know how you got on. And please try and use the knowledge that you gained today, if you didn't have a go at every question, to help you have a go at ones tomorrow. Okay, good luck.